Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Barbadians come out in their thousands to pressure government to roll back tax increases. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, July 24. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening and thanks for joining us. Thousands of Barbadians took to the streets of Bridgetown on Monday morning in a march intended to force the government to that's to the discussion table over the controversial increase in the National Social Responsibility Levy from 2% to 10%. The march was a joint venture between the island's 4 largest trade unions and the private sector. A number of businesses closed for the day while others adjusted their opening hours to facilitate the march. President of the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union is Mary Redmond.
It's not about race. It's not about politics. It's not about color, religion, isms, or schisms. This march is about solidarity. We are here to register our displeasure as a group and our discontent with the fact that government will not use the institutions and resources available to it to work with it, and to do so for the betterment of each and every one of us living in Barbados. This is not an attempt to take over any government. Instead, it is an attempt to help them. And Lord knows that they have clearly demonstrated that they need the help.
General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, Tony Moore, says the current industrial climate mirrors that of the 1990s.
Anxiousness and frustration of the people in Barbados back in the 1990s was because they felt that the government did not adequately take into account the negative social consequences of the measures being introduced for the population, nor did they equitably distribute the burden of the adjustment measures. Can you draw any similarities to where we are now?
And Chairman of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Charles Herbert, who participated in the march, told the protesters that the process of getting the Frundle-Stewart administration to engage the social partners in dialogue has only just begun.
Let us keep it this way. Let us give a chance for everyone to see the support that we have for this message. And slowly, hopefully, things will start to change, or the dialogue will start to take place.
Meantime, Prime Minister Frundle-Stewart made it clear ahead of Monday's protest that the march would not force his government to reverse the NSRL hike. He said on Sunday that he would do nothing to stop the protest and warned that his administration would not be blackmailed by anyone. The Prime Minister was speaking at a constituency branch luncheon of his ruling Democratic Labour Party. Stewart made it clear that government would only review the tax if it failed to meet expectations.
No country in the world, no president, no prime minister, no sheikh, no body who's running the government can run it by undisguised blackmail. Cannot. Otherwise, they're not a government. Barbados is governed by a constitution, and that constitution establishes something called the rule of law. I want to make it very clear here this evening that there is no industrial dispute going on in Barbados, not one.
Last week, unionized workers answered the call to take industrial action. The island's public transportation system was disrupted when most of the drivers at the transport board called in sick, and there was also a go-slow at the island's ports of entry. But the Prime Minister says as far as he is concerned, there is no real industrial dispute going on in Barbados. But President of the National Union of Public Workers, Akani McDowell, called Prime Minister Stewart's response disrespectful, saying that it angered and disappointed him.
We have been asking for dialogue, but instead we got a response from the Prime Minister through a lunchtime meeting. Now people say that I am disrespectful. People say that Tony is disrespectful. People say that Mary is disrespectful. And people say that Pedro is disrespectful. But I want to ask you a question. Is that disrespectful? Yes. Did the Prime Minister disrespect us? Yes. What he did was disrespectful. He should have addressed the nation. It is a serious issue.
And over in Venezuela, opposition supporters plastered election centers with slogans and planned to rally in honor of dead protesters on Monday in a final week-long push to force President Nicolas Maduro into aborting a controversial Congress. Maduro is pressing ahead with the vote for a constitutional assembly despite the opposition of most Venezuelans and international criticism. Critics say the assembly, whose election rules appear designed to ensure a majority for Maduro, is intended to institutionalize dictatorship in the country. But Maduro insists it is the only way to empower the people and bring peace after 4 months of anti-government unrest that has killed more than 100 people. On Saturday, National Guard troops riding motorcycles fired tear gas to break up an opposition march to the Supreme Court of Justice. The rally was also a show of support for a so-called shadow Supreme Court comprising 33 magistrates whose names were put forward by the opposition to replace Venezuela's official high court, which is closely allied with Maduro. And coming up in Caribbean Newsline, another prison break in Guyana. We'll have the details of that story when we return.
Join the Caribbean Broadcasting Union and its regional and international partners at the CBU Annual General Assembly, August 21st through 24th at the British Colonial Hilton Hotel in Nassau, the Bahamas, under the theme Digital Developments in Caribbean Media. Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Dr. the Honorable Hubert Alexander Minnis, will welcome delegates during the opening ceremony. Guyana's Minister of Public Telecommunications, the Honorable Kathy Hughes, will offer a keynote address on digital developments in the region. See the launch of the UNESCO-sponsored Manual of Social Media Guidelines for Caribbean Journalists, with guest speaker Jamaica's Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Llewellyn. And hear from international media players about the new developments in digital television standards in Europe, the US, and Japan. And this year's Caribbean Broadcasting Awards Gala at the Atlantis Resort Paradise Island is not to be missed. Call 246-430-1007 to book your space in the 3-day conference and exhibition. Don't miss the CBU 48th Assembly at the British Colonial Hilton Hotel in Nassau from August 21st through 24th. Discounts on flights to the assembly on the official airline, Caribbean Airlines.
A massive manhunt is on in Guyana for 13 men who escaped from the Lusignan prison between Sunday night and Monday morning. 9 of the escapees were behind bars on murder charges, while others were charged in connection with robbery and gun-related offences. It is suspected that the prisoners may have dug a hole under the prison fence and were able to make their escape at nightfall. Investigations have started into how the men got out without being noticed. The public is being advised to take all necessary precautions and report all suspicious activities to the nearest police station. Members of the public are also being asked to avoid the lower east coast Demerara Bank, that's the backlands, until further notice, and to remain calm but vigilant. The Lusignan prison was being used to house hundreds of additional prisoners who were moved from the Cap Street jail following a fire that destroyed most of that facility and facilitated a jailbreak 3 weeks ago. In Trinidad and Tobago, trade unions are calling on the Keith Rowley administration to prioritize safe and security in the prison system. We get the details in this C News report.
Amidst the calls for National Security Minister Edmund Dillon to be removed from office, the trade union movement is calling for the government to prioritize dealing with the unsafe conditions of the prison system. The head of the Prison Officers Association, Saren Richards, says the contract for the transportation of remand detainees who are not yet convicted belong to a private enterprise. However, the remand detainees make up 60% of the prison population.
The reality of the situation is this. In order for people to make money, the prison have to have people. The prison have to be filled. It's a easy maths, you know. It's easy maths. So there's no real emphasis in reforming the system. There's no real emphasis on having the remand population reduced. We have heard government come, government go, talk about all sorts of strategies to reduce the remand population to no avail.
And Bermuda's former Attorney General Patricia Gordon Pamplin has been made the interim leader of the opposition One Bermuda Alliance, the OBA. Her appointment comes just days after former Premier Michael Dunkley stepped down as party leader following the OBA's crushing defeat at the Progressive Labour Party in the last week's poll. In a statement issued by the party, Gordon Pamplin said she's looking forward to working with MPs, party members and the Bermudan community to be a strong opposition. She said her team will hold the new government to account and ensure it works in the best interests of all Bermudans. Grenada's agriculture sector will get a boost when a $4 million EC project gets underway later this year. The funding comes under an umbrella project of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States to increase competitiveness in the agriculture sector. We get more in this report.
The agreement, which was signed on Friday by the bank and Grenada's ambassador in Washington, gives this country access to $4 million EC under the project, while St. Vincent and the Grenadines will receive $4.3 million. The aim is to increase competitiveness of those in the food value chain.
What we are suggesting here in this project is really to have a holistic value chain approach, in order to have all the sectors, all the important actors in the value chain on board and team them up so that they can elaborate business proposal and then also business plans to achieve their goal. And the goal is basically for the buyer to get, as I said, the quality, quantity, timeliness of the produce that they want, and from the producer that they can sell that and prepare actually production already with the market in mind. So not just start producing and then when it comes to harvest time to look for a market, but actually already have a market before starting production.
That's Mr. Eli Weiss, Senior Rural Development Specialist with the World Bank. With the signing, all logistics must now be put in place for the official start of the 5-year project by late September, early October. A committee will be set up to choose the best business proposals for technical and financial assistance under the project.
You would basically have basically call for proposal where these actors will team up. So, for example, you would have a supermarket that would team up with, let's say, an agro-processor, and the agro-processor would works together, let's say, with 20 or 30 farmers together. They would be part of this team. So the farmers, the group or individual farmers, the agro-processor or an aggregator, and the buyer, the supermarket, let's say, or a hotel. So they will come together and elaborate what is needed, what kind of investments are needed, and what kind of technical assistance is needed on the agro-processing level, but also on the.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, Jamaica stunned Mexico to book a spot in the CONCACAF Gold Cup finals. Do stay with us.
It's time to explore, to feel, to love. St. Kitts, everything you've ever dreamed of, and more than you could have ever imagined. It's time to follow your heart. St. Kitts.
Welcome to SwiftPack, your online shopping and shipping solution. Receive the best rates, expert cargo management, and exceptional customer service. SwiftPack provides secure handling of your smallest packages to your largest cargo with speed and reliability. We invite you to use our US mailbox service, online shopping, ship air and ocean cargo from the supplier to your door. We handle it all for you. Get started now. Sign up for a free regular account or premium account, or give us a call on 440-6100. SwiftPack. You shop, we ship, you save.
Ready.
It's another episode. Then we out on the road. This is what we love to celebrate, to celebrate. This is not Hollywood. No, we don't come out of road.
Drink, drink, drink.
King Baba and Nikita. Hey, hey, hey. Every fat that I go, you keep on calling me wrong name. But that's okay, cause that's my bitch. I don't understand how wearing a name tag on me. You know what to say, you still calling me wrong name.
Don't get vexed with me. Don't say that.
We begin our Monday sport with some big news from the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Kimar Lawrence struck an incredible 88th-minute goal to give Jamaica a shocking 1-0 lead victory over the defending champions Mexico in the semi-finals on Sunday night and secure a spot in the final. The Reggae Boys will now advance to Wednesday's championship match at Santa Clara, California, when they face hosts United States, who beat Costa Rica 2-0 in the Saturday semi-final. With the contest at the Rose Bowl locked 0-0 and seemingly headed for extra time, Lawrence curled a 24-yard shot with his left foot into the upper left corner past goalkeeper Jesus Corona and handed the Jamaicans their first win over Mexico in 8 Gold Cup meets. Jamaica goalkeeper and captain Andre Blake earned man of the match honours for the 3rd time in the competition and says his side is looking to go all the way.
Got to stay hungry, keep fighting, and hopefully we can win the entire thing.
2 years ago, you guys pulled a huge upset in CONCACAF, beating the United States and advancing to the finals. How much are you using from that game to inspire you guys to win this Gold Cup?
Yeah, we're definitely going in to do whatever we have to do to win the game. US is a very good team, so we just got to go in, stick together, be organized defensively again, and hopefully we can win this game.
The win avenged the Reggae Boys' 3-1 loss to Mexico in the 2015 Gold Cup final when Jamaica was the first Caribbean side to reach the North American Regional Tournament final. Well, the under-20 Reggae girls were also in winners' row on Sunday. They closed their Caribbean CONCACAF Women's Championships Group B qualifiers with a 2-1 win over host Bermuda before a crowd of more than 2,000 at the National Sports Centre. Ebony Clark got both strikes for Jamaica in the 3rd and 63rd minutes, while Desher Darrell pulled one back for Bermuda in the 58th minute. The Canada-based Clark put the well-organized visitors ahead with a shot from the edge of the box that flew past goalkeeper goalkeeper Mika Pond, who had frustrated the visitors with a string of fine saves during the game. Then Darrell drew Bermuda level on the hour when she outpaced the Jamaican defense to stroke the ball past advancing goalkeeper Sydney Snyder. But 5 minutes later, Clark scored the winner for Jamaica. The win formalized Jamaica as group winners with a maximum 6 points in the three-nation playoffs. They joined St. Kitts and the next two group winners from Haiti and the Dominican Republic in the next round slated for November. Switching to cricket, Yadaram extended his fine of form with another half-century as West Indies under-19s made a winner's start to their three-match one-day international series against Zimbabwe with a 39-run victory on Sunday. The 17-year-old right-hander, who was man of the match, top scored with a fine 68 as the Caribbean side mustered 211 for 8 of their 50 overs. Captain Emmanuel Stewart chipped in with 34 and Joshua Bishop got 32 while Alec Asden struck 31 not out. Left-arm spinner Jakachira claimed 3 for 27 off 8 overs, while Frank ended with 2 for 37. In reply, the hosts never recovered from a position of 10 for 3 in the fourth over and were held to 172 off 44.1 overs. Left-arm pacer Xavier Spencer had given the Windies a bright start by removing Gregory Dollar for a naught off the fourth ball of the innings with a single run on the board. 3 balls later in the next over, Darren Ned knocked over Marshall for 1 with just 1 run added to the total, and then Milton was out for 8 in his next over to leave Zimbabwe in tatters. Skipper Liam Roach added 2 stands with Shadnoff and Wesley in a bid to revive the innings. He faced 86 balls and struck 4 boundaries to lead a reviver, but Javor Royale sliced through the lower order to trigger a collapse as the last 4 wickets fell for 35 runs. Half centuries from opener Poonan and Hapri were not enough as England women defeated India women by 9 runs to win the 2017 ICC Women's World Cup at Lord's in London on Sunday. India was seemingly en route to victory at 191 for 3 in the 43rd over, only to suffer a dramatic collapse when 7 wickets tumbled for 28 runs in the pace of 35 deliveries. Chasing 229 for victory in the final of the month-long showpiece, they got close before they were dismissed for 219 with 8 balls remaining as England captured their 4th world title and 2nd in 8 years. New ball seamer Anya spearheaded England's attack with 6 for 46 to land man of the match honours, while left-arm spinner Alex supported with 2 for 58. West Indies women, who were finalists in 2015, finished 6th in this year's tournament after winning just 2 of their 7 games in the preliminary round. Trinidad and Tobago's Akeem Stewart bagged his 2nd gold medal of the 2017 World Cup Para-Athletics Championships in London by smashing the world record in the men's shot put on the final day of competition on Sunday. Competing at the Olympic Stadium, he threw a stunning 19.08 meters, well clear of silver medal winner Adrian of Slovakia, who threw 15.99 meters. Last Tuesday, Stewart earned his first gold medal of the championship in the men's javelin with a winning throw of 57.61 meters, a new world record as well. We get more about this latest feat in this C Sports report.
F-43 thrower quickly made his presence known in the shot put competition with an opening effort of 18.34 meters. The distance was nearly 4 meters further than the previous record of 14.21 meters set by Germany's Jörg Frischmann 20 years ago. The 25-year-old is one of only 4 para-athletes from Trinidad and Tobago competing in the competition, but together Stewart and his teammate Narisha Kane won a remarkable 3 medals. In the 4th round, Stewart excelled with a massive 19.08 meters to break the record for a 2nd time on the same day. Elated, Stewart said this is what he trains for and was glad to have finally do the shot put at a major competition. He also expressed surprise at breaking the world record by such a wide margin and vowed to return and win gold in the discus event after finishing a disappointing 5th in London earlier in the week.
In other good news for sport in the Twin Island Republic, several of the country's emerging stars are making waves in the latest International Cycling Union's rankings. This comes as several of the country's top stars are preparing for the upcoming national championships, which will help determine places on the national team for the upcoming Elite Pan Am Championships to be hosted in TNT at the end of next month. Ruskin Mark of C Sport reports.
Nicholas Paul, who has been in stunning form in Europe in recent months, continued his upward trajectory, jumping 10 places to 67th in the men's sprint and up 22 spots into 70th in the men's keirin. He had a stunning month in Italy recently, which saw him podium on a couple of occasions in the elite men's category, despite still being a junior. Spare thought also for Akil Campbell and Colin St. George, who have finally broken into the UCI World Rankings top 100 in the men's omnium and the women's sprint respectively. Campbell, who is currently undergoing a training stint in the US, moved up 27 spots to sit 83rd in the world in the men's omnium, his highest placing ever. Also cracking the top 100 is the talented Colin St. George, who moved into 95th position in the women's sprint, an indication that his stay at the UCI Center in Switzerland is beginning to bear fruit.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
It's time to explore, to feel, to love. St. Kitts, everything you've ever dreamed of, and more than you could have ever imagined. It's time to follow your heart. St. Kitts.
Who will be the next Miss World Bahamas? You be the judge by voting for your favorite contestant. Download the Miss Bahamas app or log on to MissBahamas.net. Subscribe to the Miss Bahamas Club. Click on to your favorite contestant and vote as many times as you like. Your votes help decide who makes the finals and takes one step closer to the crown. And on the final night, club members will help to choose the new queen. Make your girl's dream come true. Vote for your favorite Miss World Bahamas contestant today.
Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and Carib Vision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today. Again, the major developments of this day. Thousands of Barbadians marched to put pressure on government to review controversial tax measures. And in sport, Jamaica stunned Mexico to book a spot in the final of the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Well, that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.